In today's video, I'm going to show how to install a throttle controller in an Elantra N and give my initial driving impressions. My wife has had multiple throttle controllers installed in her cars over the years. I recently installed one in her Veloster N. A link to that video will be in the description below. She loves them and has been suggesting I get one for my Elantra N. When she first drove my car, she said it felt a bit sluggish due to the amount of pressure it took on the pedal to get the car to really take off. I felt the pedal travel was fine, but I said I would give the throttle controller a try. She has a Berger Motorsports throttle controller, which works great, but I wanted to find a product with a screen so that I could mount it where the blank area is on the left side of the dash. I also wanted to find something a bit less expensive, since I didn't know if this would be something that I would want to keep on the car. The final thing that I was looking for was a controller that did not use a lightning cable as an attachment to the screen. We've tried this style of controller on my wife's Jeeps before, and they did not seem to work well. The cable would fail after a short time of using the controller. This would lead to the controller disconnecting during driving, resulting in a jerky throttle response. After doing my research online, I found the Hyundai throttle controller. I will have a link to the product in the description below. It met all my criteria. It's a fully featured controller with a screen, attached cable. It's normally on sale and allows you to choose different color screen covers for a small additional charge. The product comes with the pedal wiring harness, control screen in white, an additional black screen cover, zip ties, a manual, and installation instructions. I chose to purchase an additional screen in blue to match my car. Begin the install by locating the wire harness located at the top of the gas pedal. The wire harness plug is black and it is a little difficult to get to and unplug. I found using a pair of long, angled pliers helped to make this job a lot easier. After the harness has been unplugged, you can plug the wire harness supplied by Hyundai in between the factory harness and pedal. The thin wire coming off the wiring harness will plug into the control screen. After I installed the harness, I moved back up to the screen. Since I wanted to install the screen on the left side of the dash display, I began by testing how I wanted to run the wire from the controller to see how it would look. I didn't like the wire showing, so I decided to try to remove the dash cover and figure out how best to run the wire behind the dash piece. My wife wrapped the dash piece in gloss black vinyl, so I don't have to look at the weird circle design the factory decided to put on that piece. To remove the dash cover, you will need a thin plastic trim removal tool to pry the piece away from the dash. I started at the bottom corner closest to the driver's door. This is a bit tricky as the piece is tightly pressed against the dash. I started at the corner and worked my way around the piece. It sounded like I was going to break the whole dash, but it will come off without issue. Once the dash piece had been removed, I decided I wanted the screen mounted where the factory white circle had been. I didn't want a wire running down the dash. This meant I needed to drill a hole in the dash cover. The hole I drilled was approximately 3/8 inch round. I also used my Dremel and sanded a channel for the wire to exit at the bottom of the dash piece. After the dash piece had been modified, I attached the screen and ran the wire through the hole I had cut. I used some black vinyl to hold the wire in place. Before I reinstalled the dash cover, I ran the controller's wire behind the steering wheel. Finally, I installed the dash piece. I started with the area closest to the dash and worked my way around to the outside closest to the driver's door. Now that the control screen was installed and the wire was ran towards the pedal harness, I moved back down under the dash. I found it convenient to run the harness control wire over the top of the brake pedal's silver housing. I pulled the wire taut and zip tied it to the main wire bundle coming in from the engine bay. Finally, I attached the wire to the control's screen wire and zip tied the remaining slack again to the main wire bundle. Once the wires were connected and all cleaned up, I turned the car on to test that everything was working correctly. The controller has multiple modes to choose from. The modes are Off, Eco, Cruise, Auto, Sport, and Race. Each mode has 9 levels of adjustment. The controller has additional features such as an auto or manual transmission selection, anti-theft throttle lock, and single button push to overtake mode. Everything was working as it should, but my wife wasn't crazy about the hole I had cut in the dash. So she cut me a small piece of vinyl that looked like a floppy disk to cover up the hole a little bit better. This helped to mask the hole. I love the placement and the look of the controller. I'm glad I paid a little bit more for the blue screen cover. It was finally time for me to test out the throttle controller. It doesn't add any more horsepower or torque, but my wife promised me I'd enjoy the difference it would make to the car. She wasn't wrong. It was crazy the difference this small unit makes to the responsiveness of the car. I noticed it only took a small amount of pedal travel for the car to take off. This is an inexpensive mod that is worth buying. It will work in conjunction with a tune as well. The final clip shows my initial reaction when driving the car for the first time after installing with the controller in full race mode. Enjoy. All right, let's try out this. Oh wow, I am barely hitting the pedal. I was hitting the pedal maybe 10-15%, and it showed that I was almost 70% throttle. That's crazy. I'm feathering the throttle. I'm just barely touching it. We'll do 30%, 25 to 30% throttle response. I'm going to slow the car down. I want to see this again. Alright, I'm in fourth, about 40 miles an hour. That's a lot of fun. Woo. I might have to tone that down for every day. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more content.